two advantages to having a metal design. This alert slider is definitely pretty handy. Oppo phones, Realme phones, Narzo phones, and OnePlus phone as well. These AI features aren't really AI features. And hi there guys, I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech, and in this video I'll be doing a quick unboxing of the OnePlus Nord 4 and giving you a complete long-term review after using this phone for more than a week. Now before we get started, please hit the like button or dislike button. It helps the channel a lot. Now back to the video. Now first, let's look at the pricing. The base variant is priced at 30,000 rupees and it comes with 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. Next variant is priced at 33,000 for 8 plus 256GB variant, and the final variant is priced at 36,000 rupees for 12 plus 256GB variant. It's available in 3 colors: Mercury Silver, Obsidian Midnight, and Oasis Green. We have the Obsidian Midnight color, which is actually supposed to look like black, but it looks kinda reddish brown. I don't know. I don't even know what color it is. Anyway, let's quickly unbox it. By the way, I bought this phone in an offline store and I also got a free goodie. So if you're planning to buy a OnePlus device, do check out your nearest offline stores. You might get some extra freebies. Now here's the box. This packaging looks pretty different from your regular OnePlus phone, and I guess all the Nord phones look the same. Anyway, this is how it looks on the front and this is how it looks on the back. Now let's open it up. First, we have a small box followed by the phone itself. Next, we have the USB Type-C charging cable, and finally the 100-watt Superbook charger. Now inside the smaller box, there's some documentation, thank you card, stickers, and etc. Next, we have the transparent silicone case with frosted edges. Now here's the phone. Let me just remove the cover. Now this is how the phone looks on the front and this is how the phone looks on the back. Now let's have a physical overview. On the back side, we have a dual tone finish. At the top, we have the glass finish, and at the bottom, we have the complete unibody metal design. At the top, we have the dual camera setup followed by dual flash, and at the center we have the OnePlus branding. On the front we have a pretty huge AMOLED display with a punch hole design with a 2.5D curved glass. We also get a free screen guard pre-applied. Above the front camera we have the earpiece, and below the display it's completely plain and the chin is actually pretty small, making the phone look pretty symmetric. Now coming to the sides, on the right side we got the power and volume buttons. They are made of metal and they also have a nice clicky feel to them, and I wish they were a bit more elevated. They are too flush to the side. Now at the top we got a speaker grill for stereo speakers, followed by the infrared sensor and the secondary mic for noise cancellation. On the left side we just got the alert slider, which is pretty unique to OnePlus phones. Now finally at the bottom we got the SIM card tray housing 2 nano SIM slots, followed by the primary microphone, 2 screws with a USB Type-C charging port in between, and finally the speaker grill. Now this phone has a thickness of 8 mm and weighs about 200 grams, which is pretty lightweight. Now for the review, I'll start off with the design and build. First of all, the design of the phone is really good. The two-tone finish on the back definitely makes it stand out, and it's obviously much different. And the unibody metal design is definitely pretty new after a very long time. With all that said, there really isn't anything too advantageous to having a metal design. It just looks fancy and maybe a nostalgic feeling. That's it. Now coming to the design, once again, there really isn't anything really new, but I must say that the display is pretty good. The bezels are really small. That I really like. In the display department, OnePlus has definitely done some cost cutting. They didn't give us the best AMOLED display, but it's still pretty good. It's a regular AMOLED display with 1.5K resolution, but by default it is set to 1080p to have better battery life. Besides that, this is a regular old style AMOLED display. It's not LTPO, so the screen's refresh rate fluctuates from 60 to 90 to 120 FPS. If it was an LTPO display, the lowest it can go would be 1 frame per second. With that said, there really isn't a huge difference between both displays. It's still pretty good, and as I said, OnePlus did save some money in the display department. This is not the most brightest display out there, but still it's sufficiently bright and sunlight legibility is pretty good. Now in the hardware department, this phone comes with all the basic sensors. Literally nothing's missing. This phone also has premium features like NFC, so you can use it to make contactless payments. That is something you should definitely try. It also has infrared blaster, so you can use it to control your AC without looking at your remote. That's something I really do a lot once again. And finally, this alert slider is definitely pretty handy for people who actually want to use it, because I usually switch between multiple devices and it's been a week and I haven't used the alert slider not even once. So if you like using it, or if you're already used to using it, then you'll appreciate the alert slider, or else it'll be just like an extra feature that you might never use, like me. Anyway, good feature though. Next, haptic engine on this phone is also pretty good. I'm in love with it. Like, it doesn't feel cheap at all. It has a very nice feeling to it, and you can also change the intensity of this haptics from settings. And if you want to have a preview of all the haptics, like all kind of vibrations, you can just watch the demo of OHaptics video that's in the settings page. It feels really good. One thing to note that the USB port on this phone is a USB 2.0 port. So if you're planning to transfer a lot of data between your phone and a PC, then it's going to be pretty slow. You can also connect USB sticks, USB pen drives to it to transfer data. It works without any issues, but it did have some issues connecting an SSD. Maybe it will be fixed with a future update. In the hardware department, one thing to note is that if you get the 128GB variant, you get UFS 3.1 storage. And if you get the 256GB variant, you get UFS 4.0 storage. Now there is definitely a huge difference between these two storage variants, and I would recommend you to get the 256GB variant. For extra 3000 rupees, you're not just getting extra storage, you're also getting faster storage. Now that's going to be really useful if you're going to use storage as RAM. So if you're planning to buy, get the 256GB variant. Now coming to the software department, this is something I love and hate about this phone. First, let's look at the good stuff. Now this phone is running Oxygen OS, which is based on Android 14, but this Oxygen OS is not unique to OnePlus phones. It's actually ColorOS that you can find on Oppo phones, Realme phones, Narzo phones, and OnePlus phone as well. Like the only difference between this phone and other Oppo phone is probably the ones on this phone are always in red. Like that's the only difference. All the software features and UI is exactly same as you can find on Oppo and Realme phones. So in the software department, it's just like Oppo and Realme phones. With that said, the UI is definitely one of the best looking UIs out there, and it has a lot of useful functions. Now these are some of my favorite software features. We have 3-finger gestures for taking screenshot and opening split screen mode. That's super handy. We also have one hand mode where you can just swipe at the bottom of the screen and the screen gets dragged down, and you can swipe up to go full screen. That's also super handy. Next we have sidebar, which we are seeing on all phones, and from the sidebar you can open applications in a floating window. That's also super useful. We also have cool screen off gestures where we can just draw characters on the screen to toggle the torch. That works really well, and we can also lock applications on this phone, hide applications, hide files without installing any third-party application. We also have App Cloner, which works with all applications on your phone. Like on some phones, App Cloner only works with social media applications, but on this phone it works with everything. So that's another super cool feature. So basically this phone has a lot of interesting features that I really love to use. So that's really good about the software. Now coming to the cons, this phone does come with bloatware, but the good thing is that it's not too intrusive. There are just some applications that come pre-installed and you can just uninstall them at the beginning and you're done with it. That's at least a good part. Anyway, it does come with bloatware, but it's not really a major issue. The next thing is the UI. Now the UI definitely looks pretty good and it's very smooth, but there are some places where it looks a bit odd and the animations aren't very good. Like it needs a lot of optimization. As this is the same OS on all Oppo, Realme, OnePlus phones, they should do it on all phones. So the problem is with the OS itself, not with this phone specifically. Here's a quick reference. This is the recent apps page and you can see how big the close all button is. Like it looks a bit odd when compared to all the other UI elements. Anyway, that's what I personally think. This phone also comes with 4 years of software updates and 6 years of security updates. Now this is really huge. Like most of the phones in this price segment only come with 3 years of OS updates and 4 years of security updates. But this is different. So if you're planning to use a phone for 4 to 5 years, this is going to be the best option. And even if you're not planning, you'll get a much better resale value for this phone when compared to other phones. Next, OnePlus has also brought in AI features to this phone, which looks super fancy. First is AI Speak. Now, whenever you're using Google Chrome, you can just go to the sidebar and you can see AI Speak. Just click on it and your phone will speak the article. Like it'll just read out the article. Now, it looks fancy, but it only works on Google Chrome. If you use other browsers like Brave or Opera, the feature won't even show up. So it needs a bit of fixing. With that said, it's not really an AI feature. Like on any Android phone, you open an article and just go to Google Assistant and say read aloud and it'll do the same. So once again, it's not an AI feature. Next we have AI Summary, which is also a bit finicky. I didn't really use it a lot. Next we have AI Writer. Now when you're using Gmail, you can just swipe and access the sidebar for AI Writer. Once again, you can just write something and it'll make it more polite, casual and blah blah blah. Once again, there are a lot of applications which do the same. So these AI features aren't really AI features and they are more like gimmicks. Overall, they work, they are good, but not really impressive. Now coming to performance, these are the specs. These are the benchmark scores. This one comes with a Snapdragon 7 Plus Gen 3 processor, which is like the 4th best Snapdragon processor out there. Now, in terms of performance, it's almost as close as Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, but it falls back when it comes to GPU performance. Anyway, this phone really packs great performance. Like, this is actually one of the best OnePlus phones when it comes to price to performance ratio. So in terms of performance, you really don't have to worry about anything. You can do light gaming, you can do heavy gaming. Even if you don't do any kind of gaming, this phone will run smoothly for a very long time. Like, I'm talking about 4 to 6 years in the future. So performance is really good, and you also got some extra features like high performance mode that you can use while gaming. To keep it simple, performance of this phone is really top notch. You don't have to worry about anything. There are no heating issues, and gaming experience is pretty good. Do check out our gaming review if you want to know more information about that. Now, coming to the audio department, this phone doesn't have an audio jack. If you want to use a wired headset, use the one with a Type-C port or get a Type-C adapter. Now, besides that, audio experience on this phone is pretty good. You get dual stereo speakers, they are loud and they sound great. There's no Dolby Atmos, but it does come with Oppo's own version of audio engine, and it also works pretty good. You also have sound profiles which you can tweak with. Overall, audio is good, not too impressive, but good. Now finally, when it comes to battery, once again, there are things that I like about it and things that I kind of hate or don't like about it. First thing, it comes with a bigger 5500 mAh battery. Now this phone is not using any new technology like Glacier battery, but still normal battery technology, but a bigger size battery, always appreciated. Now, the good thing is it comes with a lot of good software features. Like, you can restrict the battery charging up to 80% to prolong the battery health. And you also have features like smart charging and smart rapid charging, which can keep your battery healthy. So that's pretty good. And I must say the battery life on this phone is really good. One day in my usage, I got about 9 hours of screen on time without any gaming. Battery life on this phone is really good. You can easily expect anywhere from 6 to 7 hours of screen on time, even on normal to high usage. If you're a light user, it can even last you more than a day. Now coming to the charging speeds, it comes with a 100-watt Superbook charger, and it takes about 30 minutes to charge the phone from 0 to 100%. But personally, I felt that the charging speeds were not that impressive. Like, before using this phone, I've used a lot of iQOO phones and they all come with 120-watt chargers and they're like super fast at charging, but I didn't get that kind of an experience with this phone. It has fast charging, it's faster, but it's not super fast like iQOO and Vivo phones. So that's something I missed out on this phone. And by the way, this phone doesn't have wireless charging like most of the phones, but if you want wireless charging on a phone, you can also consider Moto Edge 50 Pro. Now coming to the camera department, these are the specifications. I'll keep it really simple. Cameras on this phone are really good for the price, but they are not the best in the price segment. Like, if you compare the cameras with other phones in this price segment, like Poco F6, Realme GT60, you'll see similar camera performance, especially the rear camera performance is very similar. But if you're looking for a camera-centric phone or a phone that takes better pictures and you don't care about performance and other stuff, there are obviously better phones. Overall, cameras are pretty good for the price. So guys, to conclude, OnePlus Nord 4 is definitely one of the best phones that you can buy under 30,000 rupees. If you want a well-balanced phone, if you're looking to buy a phone to use for a very long time, 4 to 6 years, if you're looking to buy a phone with good resale value, for all those reasons, you can just blindly buy the Nord 4 and you won't go wrong with the option. With that said, if you're looking to buy a high-performance phone, maybe for gaming, then you can consider Poco F6. If you don't like the flat screen, you want a curved screen, then you can consider Realme GT60, which by the way is very similar to Nord 4, but with a curved screen and less OS updates. And finally, if you don't care about software updates, don't care about performance, but want good cameras and wireless charging feature, then you can also consider Moto Edge 50 Pro. That's one of the best phones in this segment. And finally, if you're a gaming enthusiast, you like to play games a lot, then you can skip all these phones and just go with the iQOO Neo 9 Pro. It has a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 processor and a dedicated chip which can improve your gaming experience. So guys, what do you think about this OnePlus Nord 4? Do let me know by commenting below this video, and if you like this video or if you don't like this video, hit the like button or dislike button. It helps the channel a lot. With that said, see you next time. Bye bye.